The year is 865 AD, deep in the Viking Age. The Norsemen, farmers, traders, and fearsome warriors rule the seas of northern Europe. Their longships, sleek and swift, strike fear into kingdoms from England to the distant shores of the Mediterranean. And now, you are one of them. A Viking sailor called from your small village to join a raid across the open sea. You are no mere passenger. You will row until your hands bleed, fight with axe and shield, and face the endless ocean where storms and enemies lurk.
Look at that!
The Vikings live and die by the sea. Their gods demand courage. Their chieftains demand victory. And for you, there is no turning back. Will you survive the voyage and return home alive? Or will the waves claim you like your world begins in a small Norse village, nestled deep in the fjords of Scandinavia. Winters here are long and unforgiving. The earth is rocky and thin. Every grain of barley, every fish pulled from the sea is the difference between survival and starvation. Life is harsh, but it forges you strong. In the center of the village stands the great hall of your chieftain, the man who holds power over life and death. Today, his voice calls for warriors and sailors to join a raid. The Longship, its dragon-headed prow resting in the cold waters of the fjord, waits for its crew. You are not alone in your choice. Farmers, craftsmen, even boys barely old enough to hold a spear step forward. The promise of silver, cattle, and captured goods is irresistible. For some, this is the only chance to feed their families through the coming winter. But you know the risks. The sea shows no mercy. Storms can shatter a ship in a single night. On foreign shores, swords will meet shields, and not everyone will return. Yet to refuse is unthinkable, for the gods favor the brave. To die in battle is to be chosen by Odin himself, carried by the Valkyries to the golden halls of Valhalla. So you take your place among the crew. Your axe is sharpened, your shield painted with your clan's mark. Ahead lies the open sea, and beyond it, the unknown.
The Longship is more than just a vessel. It is the lifeblood of the Viking world. Its slender oak hull is built for speed, able to glide silently along shallow rivers or cross the endless open sea. Every plank is held together by iron rivets and the skill of the shipwright, for one weakness could cost the entire crew their lives. As you approach the fjord, the crew is already hard at work. Shields are lashed along the sides of the ship, forming both armor and decoration, a wall of bright painted wood that will strike fear into the hearts of enemies. The mast creaks as the great square sail is unfurled, woven from wool and dyed in the colors of the chieftain's clan. You take your place among the oars, your hands gripping the smooth timber. Around you are men you know well, farmers, hunters, blacksmiths, but on this voyage, each is both sailor and warrior. There is no distinction. Every man must pull his weight, or the sea will claim him. Supplies are stowed in the belly of the ship, barrels of dried fish and hard bread, animal skins filled with fresh water, and a few small goats for milk and meat if the voyage turns long. There is no space for comfort. Every inch of the Longship is dedicated to survival and speed. With a final push, the ship slides from the shore into the icy waters. The crew begins to row in unison, their breath clouding in the frigid air. Behind you, the village grows smaller. Ahead lies the horizon, and with it, the promise of both death and glory.
Heave ho, me lads, heave ho. Heave ho, together.
The sea is your new world now, vast, endless, and indifferent. Days and nights blur together as the Longship cuts through the frigid waters of the North Sea. You row until your shoulders ache and your hands blister, then row some more. There is no comfort on the deck of a Viking longship, only the biting wind and the rhythm of survival. The crew falls into a brutal routine. At dawn, the sail is hoisted, and you row in silence as the sun crawls across the sky. When it sets, there is no fire to warm you, only the cold stars above and the fear of what might lurk in the dark. Salt crusts your lips. Your clothes are never dry. Hunger gnaws constantly, even as you ration the dried fish and hard bread. One night, a storm strikes. The wind howls like Fenrir, the wolf of Norse legend, and towering waves crash over the deck. You cling to the oar as lightning splits the sky, illuminating terrified faces. A single mistake could send the ship tumbling into the depths. A crewman is swept overboard with a cry, his hand reaching out before the sea devours him. The others do not speak his name. In the Viking world, grief must wait, survival comes first. Yet there are moments of awe. When the skies clear, you watch the northern lights dance like spirits of the fallen, and the crew whispers that Odin himself is watching. You pray quietly, knowing that each day on the open sea is a gift the gods could take away at any moment. After endless days, the cry comes from the bow, "Land!" A shadowed coastline rises from the mist, but the voyage is far from over. Ahead lies the true test, the raid, where steel will clash, and the gods will decide who lives and who falls.
Dawn breaks cold and gray as the Longship slips silently toward the foreign shore. Ahead, you see a small coastal village, smoke rising from its hearth fires, its people unaware of what is coming. This is why the Vikings are feared. They appear without warning, striking like a storm from the sea. The chieftain raises his hand and the crew falls silent. Shields are gripped tighter, axes sharpened on whetstones one last time. Your heart pounds as the ship glides into the shallows. Then, with a single command, the crew surges forward, leaping from the Longship into knee-deep water. The raid has begun. Chaos erupts. You smash through the first oar you see, splintering it with your shield. Inside, villagers scream and scatter as you seize anything of value. Silver cups, sacks of grain, livestock, the spoils that will feed your family through the harsh winter. But raids are never easy. The defenders fight back with desperate courage. A man charges you with a spear and you barely raise your shield in time. The clash reverberates through your arm as you counter with your axe. Around you, the air is filled with the clang of steel and the cries of the dying. Victory is swift but costly. Blood darkens the earth and the crew drags the plunder back to the Longship. You catch your breath, knowing that one wrong move could have left you behind, buried in foreign soil. Yet this is the life of the Vikings. Glory, survival, and the hope that the gods are watching. As the ship pushes back into the waves, smoke rises behind you. The village burns and the wind fills the sail once more. Ahead lies the sea and the long journey home. The raid is over, but the journey is far from safe. The Longship is heavy with silver, food, and the wounded. The crew rows in silence, their faces drawn from exhaustion and loss. Every man knows the sea can still claim them before they ever see home again. Nights on the open water are colder now. You huddle beneath your damp cloak, thinking of your family waiting by the fire, praying the gods will grant you safe passage. The Longship creaks as waves slap its sides, a constant reminder of how fragile life is beyond the shore. At last, after days of rowing, a cry breaks the silence. Land! The fjords of home rise from the mist like a vision. The crew cheers, their voices echoing across the water. You survived, but you also know this is only one voyage. The sea will call again, and next time, you may not be so fortunate.
Next time, I'm staying home.
You step onto the familiar shores of your village. The Longship scraping against the pebbled beach. The hull awaits, its fires warm, the spoils of the raid carried proudly through its doors. Tonight, there will be feasting, songs of victory, and the telling of your journey. But as the cheer rises around you, you know the truth. This life is never truly safe. Every voyage is a gamble against the sea, the sword, and the will of the gods. One day, your name may be whispered among those who did not return, carried away by storm or steel. This is the Viking way. Glory and survival, side by side, bound by faith in the gods and the strength of the crew. And you lived to see home again. But when the chieftain calls once more, will you sail? Will you risk everything, knowing the sea never promises mercy? Tell us, would you have survived the life of a Viking sailor? Or would your bones rest at the bottom of the sea?